let's take a look at Banana Pancakes by Jack Johnson. Now, this is a fun and lighthearted song, and we've got a lot of 7 chords in here. A7, G7, D7. If you're not familiar with those, go back and take a look at another course where we cover 7 chords on the guitar. But if you do know your 7 chords, let's jump into this song. There's a little riff at the beginning, and then we'll move into our chord progression. And honestly, it's not that difficult. It's just 4 chords. So I believe we can do this really quickly. To start, let's take a look at our riff. We're starting on the 5th fret of the thickest string, but we're going to slide up to the 7th fret. So I'm starting on my 5, and I'm sliding and hitting 5 on the 5th string. I'm coming back down to 7, 5, and sliding down to 3. So let's pause right there. We've got to slide up and walking down. And take that nice and slow. Then the open string, and we slide from 3 to 5. And we've come up to our first chord. That's our riff, and then we've got a chord. So all together. We'll pause right here and give you a chance to look at the tab and try it. We're working mainly between the 3rd, 5th, and 7th fret. Now our first chord is going to be an A minor 7. So let's play. We can either play the bar chord version, or we could play an A minor chord and take our ring finger off. So I've got my riff, and then my chord. Now I'm going to do the riff again, but this time I'm going to end on the 3rd fret instead of sliding up to the 5th. And I'll show you what I mean. Everything is identical, except instead of sliding up to the 5th like we did the first time through, I'm going to land on my G. Then I'm going to play a G7 chord. Now again, there are 2 ways to play this, so whichever one you know better and are more comfortable with. We've got the G7 shape here, or we've got the G7 that kind of looks like a separated C chord. The big difference is instead of the 3rd fret on the 1st string, we're playing the 1st fret. So I've got a riff, an A minor 7, a riff, and the G7. Let's try all of those together. Now we're into where he's singing. So again, we're going to play our riff, and it's almost identical. We're just going to come up to the 7th fret on that 5th string. Everything else the same. Now we get into the primary part of the song. We'll get comfortable with the intro. Take your time, watch as many times as you need to. But here we're at the main part of the song. There's a chord progression that plays through over and over and over. And it just works through 4 chords. So to enter into that section, we're hitting the D7 twice. And again, if you're unfamiliar, it's like an inverted D. And we're into our main chord progression. let's get that part comfortable, then we'll come back and look at the chords. Okay, we're looking at the chords now for Banana Pancakes. We've got 4. We're playing a G7, a D7, the A minor 7, and the C7. All of those chord shapes should be on the screen, but we're going to play them with split picking, which means we're not going to play all of the strings every time we're hitting. So here's what we won't be doing. That's not bad if we're learning the chords. But for this song to make it sound like Banana Pancakes, we're going to hit the low note first, the root of our chord, and then the high notes. So root, the rest of the chord, and the root, and the rest of the chord. Here's an example of what I mean. Now take a look at my picking hand, and we'll see how I'm aiming with that one string and then the rest of them.